got one more fantastic suggestion to drummers out there. I mentioned this in another segment, but I want to go into a little bit more detail on it. It has to do with, if you're a regular trap drummer, first off, right, I love loud percussion instruments, you know, timbales, congas, bongos, some of the other sound effects, cowbells, different things like that. So if you're a drummer and you have, like, you know, a standard trap set, it's not too huge, and you have place for, say, a set of bongos, have a set of bongos set up. I did that for a little while. I set them up to the left of my hi-hat, so that I could kind of play some rhythms there. And I also had like a cowbell mounted above it, as well as the cowbell that I have on my bass drum. But you know, one of the things though is I can't play lap percussion with my hands. Last time around I tried to play a conga with my hands. I bruised my hand because I don't know how to play. You know, conga technique is a very, very specific technique. It's an art. I don't think I would be able to master that and master drumming at the same time. So I never attempted to do it. But I just did a recording session recently where I overdubbed the conga part. It was a simple little thing. Kind of similar to what Carl Palmer did in From the Beginning, where he did like za, boom, boom, za, boom, boom. I almost played like a cha-cha. So I asked Dave at the studio, because I hadn't, my mallets, I don't have my mallets anymore. So I asked him if he had a set of timpani mallets, and he had that, and so I played it with the timpani mallets. Sounded pretty good. When I had the bongos set up to the left, there were a couple of times where I set them up in other places on the kit. You guys can decide that. But you have to find it. They make heads that are made out of plastic for the bongos, so you can play them with drumsticks. Or what you could do is just play the bongo with the head that comes with it. It's not the head that's supposed to be played with sticks, but you can play on it for a while. Eventually the head will snap though. But I mean, I was able to play on bongo heads, the kind that comes with the bongos. They're kind of like a fiber type thing. They stopped making animal skins. They used to be animal skins, but a lot of the animal rights people were very unhappy. So the drum companies created kind of like sort of almost a fiber kind of a thing. Yeah. So you can't get animal skins. That's the way the drum heads were many years ago. I agree. I mean, hey, how'd you like it if somebody came and said, we're going to take your skin off your body, you know? Not a good way, not a good day for anybody, you know? I wouldn't want to do that to an animal, you know? These people that wear these mink stoles, it should come alive like in Ghostbusters, and chase people, you know? Remember that scene? That was really, really cool. But anyway, same thing, I remember, Danny Serpent had a set of congas set up. Eventually, Chicago actually got a percussion player. But before that, I know Danny Serpent, I think he had a set of congas to the left, and then that's like really, really cool. And what else, can you have? Well, of course, you know, I like the cowbell on my bass drum, the go-go bells. They generate some really good sounds. I like the vibra slap. It's like that sound. I've used that around a couple of places. You know, and then there are other various percussion, but I think my mainly different things that you hit that sound differently are always really cool. One other thing which I got, you know, I'm really sad about it. I never really, you know, I retired my acoustic kit, but I had them around for a very short time. Eddie over at Sam Ash, when he was the manager. Eddie, I hope you're doing good, man. Eddie's a really good drum manager. Ryan's now the drum manager, but sold me, there were 2 octobans. I always wanted to have octobans, and there were 2 of them. He gave me like an amazing price on it. I don't remember what it was, but it was like he almost gave them for free, you know? Because those things were expensive. and they're very rare, and they don't make them anymore. And so I put those above my melodics, and that they were really, really cool. Unfortunately, they're in storage now. Eventually, maybe I can add them to my electronic kit. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but those were really, really cool. And then another thing, which I did, and I was inspired to do this from Terry Bozzio. With one time, he had his drum set, when Terry played earlier on, his drum set was huge. He had like a lot of tom-toms, I mean, rows and rows of them. And there was one time where he was using rototoms, and I was really inspired by that. And also Belson had 2 rototoms off to the right that he used. Belson did a thing where he played on them and he turned the head. He tuned it while he was playing. That was really, really cool. And then, so I bought a set. Fortunately, they're gone too. I gotta get another set of those. Like a 6, 8, and a 10. And I mounted those right above my other tom-toms. It was really, really cool. But eventually, there wasn't any room, so I retired those. But the rototoms have a different sound. They're really, really kind of cool. You can get something like that. And one time, you wouldn't believe what I did. I had to write this extra bass drum that I wasn't using. I used to have a lot of extra drums. I mounted that as like a tom-tom over my other tom. Billy Cobham, I think, had something like that. And I think they called it a gong tom or something. It was like this huge, it was like a bass drum mounted. But when you hit it, it sounded really good. Some of these things, there's not going to be enough room for on your average stage. But if you got a big enough stage, maybe you could add it on. Finally, now, I never had the room for this. I don't think well, I wouldn't have room for it now, but timpani. Like Carl Palmer, he had the 2 timpanis behind him, and he turned around and he played those things. And Bonham had the timpani. I think Bonham only had 1 timpani, and that was pretty cool. I think you're right, I like what Carl did the best, because he did toccata, and he did that timpani solo, and with the gongs and everything, and it was really, really cool. By the way, some film early on, Carl Palmer, when he was first coming up with ELP, he studied with a guy. I don't know who he studied with. It was a guy around in England who probably played with the symphonic orchestra, because Carl took lessons, playing to learn how to actually play the timpani. And it shows, right? Because what he did in toccata was really, really amazing. That the dong, 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 and then he breaks into kind of like a Gene Krupa type thing, which I thought was really, really cool. So, and then of course, like if you're playing on regular acoustic drums, which I'm not playing on anymore, get to write some of those electronic drums to complement that. That's another really good thing you can do. They have a thing, I don't like the way it feels, but it's really, really very practical. It's got like 8 different pads on it. If you go over to Sam Ash and you see Ryan or Cody, they can show it you. I think Roland puts it out. It's got about like 6 pads, I think, and each one has like a different sound. And it's really cool because the sounds in there are things that you would never get from a regular drum. Most significantly, I think by adding different things to your drum set for a little while, then taking it away, then trying something else, what it does is it kind of evolves your drumming into different areas that normally wouldn't happen. There's the classic example. If you listen to some of my electronic segments that I've done recently on a Simmons kit, recently did a thing on a Yamaha kit. Now I don't own these kits. I use them, and then as a result of using them, create things that I never would have created on a regular trap drum. And now they have these things where you can put triggers on the regular drums and generate all different kinds of things. Alex has a thing called Superior Drummer, I forget how it actually works, but the drums go into the MIDI, and my drums can sound like anything. I mean, they could have like a doom, doom, you know, a Carl Palmer kind of synthesized sound, or sound like timpanis, or sound like you can get gong sounds. I mean, there are things that it's unbelievable. Listen to some of my rhythmical things where I'm not on camera, and you guys get the feel for that. So, that's my story for today. I hope you found it useful. I think what you guys should do is go over to Sam Ash and have Ryan or Cody show you some of the different Latin percussion instruments, and experiment a little with them, and then maybe add them to your kit and see what happens. And I hope you found that useful. I'll see you guys around on another segment. I'm running out of things to say.